Hello to everyone of the sign of Gemini. This is Zaida Velgara from Becoming I Am, here to give you your reading for September 2026. I hope you enjoy it. So for everyone that is new, let me tell you how the rundown kind of goes. I picked at least 3 astrological events. I'd let you know how it's going to affect the collective, and then I let you know with tarot and oracle how it's going to affect you specifically. I like to do that because we are not an island by ourselves. We are affected by the collective that is around us. And if we are on check of how that can affect us, we can move forward. That being said, I only do one reading per language, per sign, per month. So you will only see about one of these a month. And besides that, these messages are general. That means I send out the message. You have to determine if it makes sense to your reality or if it does not. Keep in mind also that at times we get triggered by messages, and that is because there's some underlying message that we are trying to ignore. So it would be a really good idea to kind of take a meditative moment for those messages that kind of trigger you so that you can kind of work it out. That being said, the first thing we got is September 10th. September 10th, we have the new moon in Virgo. We have Venus in Scorpio. We have Mercury in Libra, and we have Uranus retrograde in Gemini. This chaotic energy is big deal. Why? Because in the new moon in Virgo is going to kind of make you be like, I need to make a new plan about how I'm going to go moving forward. And you might turn a little obsessive about that plan when it comes to Venus and Scorpio, because that creates like your desire being a little toxic. Okay. And then with that energy of Mercury and Libra, that kind of balances out the energy because it balances out your mind and the concept of how you should be approaching the situation. And then lastly, with this Uranus and Gemini energy, it is something, the thing that you're going to be working in is something like really deep inside of you. What that means is like something that you probably didn't even know that you do, that sabotages you, limits you, restricts you in some way. And it does require a lot of like willpower within you to be able to make it happen. So this is bringing up old shit that is deep inside of you. And it's because you're making a plan to get rid of it because it no longer serves your purpose. So that being said, let's see how this is going to play out. How is this going to play out for my Geminis in September 10th? Mm. This one did this whole spinny thing and the green light is up. First thing, it's a miracle. The Virgen de Guadalupe. So some kind of miracle is happening because you're getting a green light. And the green light has to be about learning something, going back to, I want to say, school. So either somebody here will be actually deciding, like making the plan to stop beating around the bush and going to get that degree that they know they should get because they know that this is going to help them for the future. Or this can be something where it's a and it's a miracle because you were like, I'm never going to go back to school, and boom, here you go. Okay. Or this can be one of those situations where it's a miracle because you got the green light and you're finally passing, I mean, going through the lessons that you need to do to get to the other side, right? And this can be spiritual or physical. This is interesting. We have the energy of the phoenix and the Asian geisha. This, for me, it's interesting. First of all, I feel like an awakening, like a returning from the dead, the seductive energy that is within you, because the geisha was kind of spies. They were spies that used sexual flavors to do spies, according to what I understand. But let me just triple check to make sure I'm not lying to you. Okay, so I read it about what geishas were, and it is so politically correct. It's talking about professional entertainers that would all be in one location that were made to entertain the wealthy of that situation, like of that lifetime. And it says something along the lines of you know then they can become political spies because since they have the ear of those that would go to their places of profession um, to receive entertainment from them. And you guys can do the lateral thinking for that. And so what I'm seeing is that one of the things that is waking up from you is your alluring qualities. So this feels like glamour, like you being able to talk in a way that really draws people in. You are not afraid of, I want to say, your sexual seductive nature is what this looks like. And I know that mainstream considers that like completely wrong, that you should be like some kind of prudish like saint in the world, because if not, you will find yourself in problems. But that is corruption. We all are supposed to have some kind of allure that you attract another based on either the way you speak, your intellect, and the way you move, and the way you talk, the way you dress, or the way you express yourself. And that's what this whole thing is. It's like the magnetic pull that you have to get your message through. And so, oh, look, and one card stayed on the floor. And I think this is something that's breaking through that was really restricted in you. So your beliefs about your sexuality, your beauty, your way to allure things into your life was very I want to say distorted. And I think it was distorted probably because of some kind of trauma. Because when somebody has this kind of fear, it's because being seen was considered dangerous to you. And you grew up in an environment that if you were seen, you for sure were going to get hurt. So you learn to turn it off. And right now you're coming into this line where you're learning to turn it back on. This is so weird, you guys. This We're definitely going to go into a weird reading here. Wait, because I heard not, no, not those. Not those. Let's find out more about this. So somebody's definitely awakening their inner sexuality. You know, that actually makes sense because Venus in Scorpio has a tendency to be hypersexual. Whenever Venus is in Scorpio, especially those of the sign of Scorpio are very sexually oriented during that period of time. Just letting you know. So I would recommend to check out your Scorpio placements because that's where your drive is going to be more ignited. So let's see. 9 of Cups. Tell me that if that's not a seduction energy right there. That looks like a bedroom scene. I think the Cups is a lot of passion. And then we have the 8 of Cups after that. So we have the 9 of Cups, a lot of passion. And then we have the 8 of Cups that something's walking away from you. Knight of Swords. I can't remember what sign I said. I think it was Scorpio that they should channel their, wait, let me just double check. They should channel their hypersexuality into things that they want to create instead of, yes, I wasn't wrong. Scorpio was a sign. They should channel their hypersexuality in something that is going to bring them abundance and growth and whatever, that's being turned on, not just so that you can hump like little bunnies, but also because you're supposed to be using that sexual drive to allure clients, work, potentials that you want to open up the door for because everybody's into different stuff. This is your magic. You see, I'm not crazy. Your reading and Scorpio reading are very strongly linked. This is in the 5 of Wands. Sorry, I had a moment because I was looking at the cards and thinking about something else. Ooh, and 2 cards flew out. And then we have the Hermit card with the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. And so as I'm looking at this, first of all, yes, there is this hypersexual drive. And again, I'm going to tell you the same thing I said to Scorpio, but we need you to walk away from the carnal desire energy of it. I'm not saying you're not going to have fun. I mean, there was 9 cups You're walking away from 8 cups. So you still have 1 cup where you can still have that, okay? I'm just saying there's 1 cup where you're like, woo, and then 7 cups, which is a lot of other options if you're thinking about the 7 of cups that you can use this energy for. And right here is saying they want you to move really fast during this period of time at manifesting. And what you're going to be manifesting is on whatever it is that you feel you're being roadblocked from. You're going to have to use this energy to channel it to open the door, right? So this would be like, let's say you're having problems connecting to the right people so you can get a job. Let's say you're having problems communicating with family because you guys have been having an estranged relationship. Let's say you're having problems finding friend groups and connections that way. And so this is where you get the opportunity to make new friends and socialize and things like that. So there's options that they want you to do. And what I'm seeing is something that is dormant inside you with the Hermit card is going to be the key to your Wheel of Fortune. And the bottom of the deck, we have, I'm seeing you actively painting the town red and celebrating and socializing. This feels like networking, okay? So you have the pen in your hand to create these new social networks. There is passion and there is drive, Queen of Wands, and there's ambitions in your side. And it's something connected to God's way of opening the door to you, whatever God you believe in, right? I'm feeling like there is an end to of movement of investing in foolish endeavors that always end up when you move there and being a lost cause. So, and there's now an investment in blocking. We have the Queen of Swords and the 5 of Pentacles. I feel one of the things, and then going to the 9 of Pentacles. This is important because I think that I had this reading. Let me triple check again. I have all my notes over here where I saw this in. This is connected to Taurus. I think you should see Taurus as reading. See, I tell people a lot, like people focus just on their sun sign, but in actuality, in all the 12 zodiacs, at least 9 of them has something to do with what is going to specifically happen in your life. And if you know your birth chart and wherever you have like the most concentration of energy, you know where you're going to start getting like hit, like where you're going to move forward. So not all these readings are specifically only for one person, like only for the person of the sign of Gemini, you know? And what I'm seeing here is that this is very linked to the Taurus reading. And what I'm seeing is that you have a tendency of you're going to end constantly moving forward, like constantly looking for the new best thing, the news group, the new thing, like running away. You're going to stop running away and investing in foolish things that when you go towards them, all they give you is heartache. What you're going to start investing is in blocking your desire to cut out everything in your life and feel sad because you're alone, because you're going to know your abundance. But that's the thing is, and know your independence. And the judgment is all about the devil energy, realizing that the reason why you probably isolated with yourself was because you were giving way too much to these groups. And sometimes you need to step away from a scenario so that you can figure out what's, I want to say, wrong with you, even though it's like I don't like to say there's something wrong with you. I want to say more of something along the lines of something misaligned or broken that you're needing to mend and realign. And then when you reintroduce yourself to certain groups or whatever, now the dynamics is a little different. The problem is that when people reintroduce themselves to these dynamics, they have a possibility of reverting back to where they are and getting rebroken. But if you return to those dynamics and you find out, hey, this doesn't really feel real good to me anymore, that's fine. You can still have those relationships. They just won't be such a big staple in your life. And instead, what you're going to choose to do is go in a different direction. And that different direction is one in which you are looking for groups that are more aligned to your energy, but it doesn't mean that you're going to let go of the old ones. Does that make sense? I'm hoping that makes sense. I feel like I'm talking psychology here for somebody, but I feel like people really underestimate the energy of the devil, because the devil is an energy of entanglement, right? Of restrictions. And some restrictions, horrendous, which are some of these groups where you always kept going after them and they kept disappointing you. But then some are actually really good. And that means that the person that you're working with and that you're connecting to, right? The family that you're choosing. Oh, I'm getting one of those. Okay, I'm gonna look that up in a second. The family that you're choosing is more aligned to your essence, though the family that you came from can still be part of your life, just not as prominent, if that makes sense. Hold on, let me look something up. So as I was telling you all about that, I started getting another message. And the message that I was getting was that phrase where people are like, blood is thicker than water, or which they assumed was that family bonds are more important, more relevant, and stronger than any platonic relationship that you can have. But it says the real phrase is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. So if you're listening to it that way, what it's saying is that what is inherently in your blood, the essence, oh wow, this is making me get cold chills, you guys. The essence, the vibration, the things that are inherently natural in you, because we've had so many different past lives. And we've all acquired things that have changed our essential DNA. And we could have been decided to be born in a specific family group or it's a specific timeline, right? Which is the water of the womb, right? That is something that creates a social network that you grew up in, because it was more that the blood wanted to learn by being exposed to the blood and the water of this covenant, right? But eventually, once you learn your lessons and once you grow and you expand in that water of the womb energy, in other words, that energy of your family that you were born into, then you blend that with the blood of your covenant, what is inherently inside your DNA that you have acquired from all these previous lives. And now you enter into groups and social networks and things like that that are more aligned to the vibration that emanates inside your soul. In other words, it kind of reminds me of also, oh my God, I'm getting so many downloads here. I'm also getting this like energy of that Greek story. Hold on one second. Okay, so that story is about Zeus. And in that story, Zeus felt intimidated by the strength of the whole human. Okay. That had 4 legs, 4 arms, 2 faces, and both sexes, female and male. And they were strong, they were confident, they were one. And so he feared them so much that he split humans in half and spread them out so that they would be weaker than him, and they would bow down to worship him, and they were spread out in such a way where um, they would always be searching for that other half and always feel empty, but not finding them, right? And if you're thinking about that, where I'm telling you the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, what I'm telling you in this dynamic is that the whole point was when you came into this world, you were split, and you were put in a family group where you were either male or female. And oh my God, I don't know why I'm being so esoteric with somebody here. Somebody must be really crazy magical here. You were put in this world with you either male or female, and that split you. And when you were put in this water of the womb, you were said that because you were born of this specific sex, you no longer have rights or privileges or mandates or whatever of that other half that you are, because honestly, we are both masculine, feminine. As a matter of fact, when we are conceived, we are all feminine, and we then choose a sex, and we either lose a leg in an X, because women are XX, men are XY, or Y. Just believe me, it's Y. So you lose a leg, and now you lose a genetic leg, and you gain in between your legs leg. Okay. So um so as I'm looking at that, what I'm seeing is that whoever I'm talking to right now has come to the point where they had to sever the bond between the water of the womb, and they were drifting alone in the abyss of nothingness for like ever, feeling the lack of a counterpart, right? Of the other half of you that is missing. And through your sways and movements, I'm getting so cold, of this reality, you ended up falling into people that are of your same blood, right? Of your same essence. And right now, there is this fear of connecting to the blood of the covenant because the water of the womb was so terrible. But what the Zeus energy is telling me is kind of like, no, you're uniting again with what you essentially are. Yeah, I don't know why. I feel like saying like this is like a God test, right? Where wow, and then I'm seeing the world card with the Four of Wands. So it's for you to find your roots. I'm feeling this energy where like this was the whole plan of the earth plane, to see if you are essentially really what you say you are, um be it alien, god, a god, right? Fae, lichen, werewolf, vampire. There's so many mythological beings out there. And then when you come down here, you kind of split off, and then you're gonna have to find your kind. I know that sounds so weird, but this one is weird. That's all I'm gonna say about September 10th. I'm just gonna leave it there because I could go. Look, we're in 22 minutes. Holy shit! And I'm still gonna go through two more things. Okay, September 23rd, Sun enters Libra. When the Sun enters Libra, um, we also have the autumn equinox. So you see clearly what it is that you want to balance out in your life so that you feel good. And some things are going to fall out of your life because that's what the autumn equinox does here in the northern hemisphere, or any hemisphere really, but at this moment it's going to be the northern hemisphere. So let's see what that's all about after we spend forever on just that first message. Whoever you are, definitely magic-y, especially if you understood what the hell I was talking about. Okay. I just realized I think I didn't eat today. We have the king. Addictions, mediator. And this one came upside down, which is the Samaritan. And the Samaritan upside down, it says exacting appreciation and recognition for the help you offer. Okay. You're going to step into, starting the 23rd, this energy of authority. Kind of like, because the king is enlightenment, benevolent leadership, benefiting those in their charge. So you're stepping into a position of power because not only you are going to be the person that is going to benefit from this shift, but people around you will. Okay. Sometimes I tell people, I don't mind being an open book and telling people the shit that I'm dealing with or the stuff that I dealt with before. Um, because at times people see other people okay and they think, oh, they don't get it. They haven't gone through the same things we have. And the truth is, a lot of us have. A lot of us have. And sometimes you need an example to help you move forward because it's hard to believe a concept of yourself or to see a different picture of yourself if you don't have an example, right? The next thing I see is addictions. Helps you recognize and confront addicted powers. So what I'm seeing is the fact that in this energy of the 23rd, you are stepping into a stronger energy, but the reason is it's because you're being put into a position in which you're helping people see their shit. And this can be like in family, in platonic energies, in friend groups, at work groups, it doesn't matter. But you're being put in a position where people are seeing you and are hearing you because you're going to help them push away those waves of emotions that make them think they're less than. And then look at this, because you're going to be the mediator, the middle person between their addictions, their maladaptive if they coping skills, their cognitive distortions, whatever. You're going to be between that and the energy of the merit and the martyr Good Samaritan in reverse, where it's one of those things that they help, but because, oh, I know what this is all about. They help, but because they just want to be loved. Okay. So this is a person, what I'm talking about is like you've been exposed to a lot of really good people that are that always help the narcissist, that always help the needy, that always help all that kind of stuff. But the reason they're doing that is because they want to be seen. They want to be heard and they want to be valued by people and situations around them. It's like a cry for help. But instead of healing themselves, they are helping those that hurt them to begin with, that gave them the womb to begin with, because that is what the empath narcissist relationship is all about. It's like somebody that was wounded, that felt the need to dominate, which is that narcissistic energy, broke another person's spirit. And then that person has such a low spirit that they perceive that if they bow down enough to people that are like these, that break people, that they will finally be seen. When the person that they have to realize they have to be seen is the fact that this person broke this person because they saw something in them that they knew they could never have. If that makes sense. I'm hoping you understand. And so I guess what I'm telling you is that sometimes we kind of go down on ourselves thinking, why is it that we always get the shortest end of the stick? The reason you get the shortest end of the stick is because the person that kept, or the people that kept making you feel like you got the shortest end of the stick, always felt envious of the fact that you got the longest one. Ooh, I feel like I'm preaching. We have the Nine of Swords followed by the Six of Cups. Followed by the Ace of Pentacles, the Chariot card, the Magician, and the Four of Wands. I mean, not the Four of Wands, the Four of Cups. I'm looking at the cards because I think the message is pretty interesting. I'm feeling like there are demons inside of people of your past. And I feel like you're going to help them make war with the things that these demons inside of them. And you're going to offer advice, but it is going to create chaos. And it's going to create a situation where everybody's going to want to run away from it. You might be the bad guy for a little bit because you are the magician. And then when you're sitting on your own, because everybody is kind of like, "Ooh, this person is toxic, you know, they're crazy, they're this, they're that, they're gonna psych a lot of shit." When they when you finally are like, "Okay, well, whatever, I'm gonna stand on this thing on my own," they're gonna pop up back in your life. So this energy feels like a pop up back in your life, which is weird because I thought that was gonna be in the beginning of the month, but for you, it feels like it's coming later. We have the Ace of Swords, the Seven of Swords, and the Hangman, followed by the Three of Swords, the Six of Wands, and the King of Pentacles. And this is the truth cutting through the lies that has had everybody hung up. And then this energy of feeling sad, sad about the fact that you were right and you're going to be in victory and you're going to be stable. I want to tell you that, and this is something I say a lot because everybody, heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? And what I'm feeling with that energy of heavy is the head that wears the crown is the energy of heavy is the mind that understood the lie and that can see the patterns and the toxicity of the people that are around them and the patterns and the toxicity within themselves, and realizes that if they don't fix on themselves, all they're going to do is continue the same stupid patterns. And all we need is an affirmation of, I refuse to repeat the same story of those that came before me. I will take my cross and I will go right through until I can get to the other side. And it doesn't matter what it costs me. And when we first affirm that, we believe it's going to be easier than what it is. And then we realize why it's like a death. Because when you come back, people don't look the same, they don't smell the same, they aren't the same. And people look at you and be like, holy shit, this is not even the same person. And they'll hate you for it. And then eventually they'll realize you were right. But to get there, super fucking hard. The last thing we're going to look into is September 28th to the 30th. This is Mars in Leo, and this is Mercury in Scorpio. This is literally your mind is sharp and your tongue is even sharper. Insecurities. And I feel like in the securities is the other folks. Because they represented as the Three of Swords, and this reminds me of the Three of Swords. We're starting the whole end of the month on everybody else because the facade is in reverse. In other words, they're feeling very insecure because they're finally figuring out you were right. And then we have complacency. But even though they figured out that you were right, they're in this energy of that I'm going to stay where I'm at uncomfortable because that's just too much work. I saw how much you had to go through and I don't want to do it. And that's a them choice and they have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with the fact that they don't want to do what they have to do. It is what it is. You know, when somebody started saying it is what it is around me, I was so triggered by it in the beginning because I'm like, I don't know, those words are like a curse, like a disgusting paradigm, but it isn't. It is what it is. Um, because you're kind of like throwing in the towel. It is what it is because you can only do you, and everybody else has to choose their own path. And though you would like to make sure that everybody gets their fair chance to get to the other side, people will just actively not choose to, and that should be okay with you because that's their choice. And the more that you try to change their will, the more you are the devil of their story. Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Ace of Wands. Ace of Cups. Devil card. I mean, this feels like a them energy because we started a whole thing about the them, right? The end of the month has very little to do with you. You're just going to continue your path of enlightenment and whatever, while these people are not. The first thing we're seeing is the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. In other words, broke. And this feels like it can be physically broke, like where they're losing money, but this can also be spiritually broke. And with the Ace of Wands, it's like you put a strong light on that. Like the more you grow, advance, get healed, move forward, the more they realize how much whatever they have still is nothing compared to what little you may have in the physical world. And the Ace of Cups is like they're going to be stuck in their feelings, and it's going to trigger them the Devil card. And that is whatever cardinal sin that they are most linked to. This can be lust, where all of a sudden they become hypersexual. This can be gluttony, where they want, and they hoard. This can be that would be like something where you're hyper chopping or gambling or eating a lot in excess, whatever. But that wrath, really angry, explosive. You know, you can look up the 7 deadly sins, but this is triggering their sadness, their emotions of holy shit, she's putting a light of how much less I have in my life, even though wow, I said she, even though I have so much stuff, right? And the worst of it is the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. I don't even know how to start making it happen. And then right here, we have the Two of Pentacles. And this feels like they're stuck between what they think and what they see, and what they think and what they see, and what they think. So it's like the desire to drink water, but the water that they drink never gets rid of their thirst. Okay? In the bottom of the deck, we have the Ace of Pentacles with the Tower card. And whatever you say and whatever you do just creates more chaos in them. Because why? Because you, as the Empress, has already walked away from them. You can give them guidance. You can help them from over there. You know, I tell that to people a lot. It's like, you can help a person like this. These are phone numbers. These are resources. I went over here. That's what I did. And then you wash your hands, because the person should give the effort to move them forward. And when they start, oh, do you think you can help me? It's because, and they give you a homeless excuses. That's not a person that wants to help themselves. That's the one that wants you to carry them. And we're not doing that anymore. The Two of Wands with the Queen of Wands. This literally is these people would like to eat you alive. The Moon card with the Temperance card, but what they can't see is that you are balanced already. Don't fall for their facade of, oh my God, I'm trying, but I can't do it. It's not that. It's that I don't want to try. Can you do it for me? Because we give a lot of grace to people and we say, oh my God, but they are going through a difficult time. And so did you. And so did you. And you didn't have the effort of having a person like you around that told you, and told them, hey, if you call this person, they can help you out. Or if you go over there, they can help you out. Or if you do this other thing, it can help you out. So what I'm saying is the only reason why you're feeling that, I want to say, sadness for those individuals is because you're feeling sad for yourself. So I hope this helps.